Okay, I'm going to look at problem number 5 from 8.5. So I'll make sure you've stopped this and read it through real carefully. So step 1, we're going to set up our null and our alternative hypothesis. And it says here we're going to test the claim that the population of volumes has a standard deviation. So there's sigma. We know null is equal, but our claim says a standard deviation less than 0.15 and use an alpha of 0.05. Okay, so that's going to be equal to 0.15. So there we have step 1 right there. Step 2, since we're testing standard deviation, we're going to use chi-square equals n minus 1 times s squared over sigma squared. And if you look here, it says that they took a sample of 36 cans, so 36 minus 1. And then s squared, it said they have a standard deviation of 0.11 quantity squared divided by sigma squared from up above, that's 0.15 quantity squared. When you calculate that out, you'll get chi-squared equals 18.822. Calculate it to 3 decimal places as the table. So step 3 then, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a chi-square, and again I just tend to draw mine like that. And it's a left tail test, so in our left tail here we have an area 0.05. And if we look up in our chi-square table, our degrees of freedom is going to be 35. Well, it only goes to 30 or 40. I used 30, which in our case with 30, it's going to be 18.493. Again, you could use 40. The book actually goes halfway between 30 and 40, so they use 22. They just interpolate. I always go according to the table. I go whatever the closest thing is on the lower end. Since we have a degrees of freedom of 35, I would use 30. Obviously, if you use 26, you're going to get a little bit different answer than I am. So let me first talk about what I would get. This is very close, but I would be in the clear. So in the clear, I would accept H naught. Since I accepted H naught, and our null, or our alternative was the claim, in step 4, since I accepted H naught, I reject the claim, so I would have to say there is not sufficient evidence to support the claim that the population of volumes of the cans of Coke has a standard deviation less than 0.15 ounces. So again, I'll let you finish that one out. Realize if you used 26.509, which is the degrees of freedom for 40, you would be here and you would have rejected H naught. If you use 22, which is about in the middle of those, so about 35, you would have also rejected H naught. So realize this one comes real close to the cutoffs. So depending which degrees of freedom you used, you might get accept or reject. I'm not as concerned about that as you realize if you had a table and you could look up 35 exactly, you would do that. Okay, so there's problem number 5.